Welcome to Risk and Reward Corner, the ultimate podcast for traders, investors, and financial enthusiasts, brought to you by Citiinvest. So today we have with us Mr. Siddharth Mutkekar, who is young founder and a serial entrepreneur. Welcome, Siddharth.
Hi, Shweta.
Can you tell me about your business?
Sure. So I'll start with my journey first of all. It started quite young.
Okay.
I was in 8th standard when I heard the term called entrepreneur.
Oh.
This was in a book that had recently come out about Steve Jobs,
Okay.
and this got me intrigued. I mean, everybody was fascinated by these iPhone products and like Apple products, MacBook, this, that, iPods. So who was this person behind these iconic products, right? And then I was always into reading as a kid from school. So I read this book top to bottom, and then I was so fascinated by his journey. I'm like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. So, and at that time my father was a first generation entrepreneur from my family as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got motivated by his journey also.
So you have a business background already?
I do, yeah. But honestly, my father never wanted me to do business because business is not for everybody, and generally it's very unpredictable, and there is no surety of success.
Yeah.
The risk, or as you said, your podcast name is Risk and Rewards, right?
Yeah.
The risk is a lot, and the rewards, there's a very small percentage of getting exponential rewards.
Yeah.
So because of that, my father never wanted me. He just wanted me to do a master's, go to engineering, do a master's somewhere abroad, get a job, probably marry an NRI, have cute kids so that they could come over after they have retired. So that was the original plan.
Yeah, I would definitely want to know, like, how did you start Kabadi Man, as it's your current
Yeah. So this started Kabadi Man's seed of the idea seed started from lockdown. So in lockdown, as an internet service provider, I had free access to roam the city. Meanwhile, everybody else was locked inside the house. So this gave me a lot of free time to think, because my team was already set up. They were taking care of the internet business, and I had a lot of free time on my hand. And I was quite bored, honestly. And boredom is an entrepreneur's kryptonite. Like if we are Superman, then it's our kryptonite. Boredom boredom is the cause of many entrepreneurs to fail in life. You need something continuously to pump you up.
Work on, yeah.
Yeah. So
you cannot be idle.
Yeah. Thankfully enough, I have a creative brain, so I kept coming up with there were always new ideas.
Another thing.
Yeah. So this was something I used to do even as a child. When any new idea comes, I would write them down. Now I just have them on my phone. I text them to myself on WhatsApp, and I keep a list of all the ideas that I have. So out of them, then this one idea came. Okay, what happens during that time, during lockdown, my mother was cleaning out the house.
Okay.
Free time, right? So she was free. She was cleaning out the house, and there was a huge heap of waste that had piled up. And she told me, go and find a kabadi wala. I'm like, okay, let's go. Since
that's a big task now.
Yeah.
cleaning is a small task, and finding is a big task.
Exactly.
That's what you found.
So generally, I mean, their generation knew the concept of a kabadi wala. Like, you exchange waste for money. You earn that money, and then the waste gets recycled. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
For both,
yeah. So she told me, find a kabadi wala, and I spent about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Roaming around roaming around the city. We waited even for the kabadi wala to show up on our doorstep. Like generally they used to go on rounds.
Yeah.
So then after 2 weeks, I found one in the city. I stay on the extension outskirts of the city. So in the mid city, I found one, and I showed him photos like, this is what all I have at home. What will you pay, and when will you come pick up? He said, I won't pick up. Regardless, it needs to be at least some 500-800 kgs, and obviously no home is not going to have that kind of quantity.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll bring it.
Okay.
So we had a family car, SUV car. We loaded all the waste inside, and I came the next day.
Okay.
This guy fooled me by saying like, oh, I'll give you 10 rupees for newspaper. Then he like, nahi, aaj rate kam ho gaya. Now it's today 6 rupees. I'm like, okay, this is a bad experience. I felt like I was cheated. So I went back home thinking like, okay, all this effort I put into getting that waste till his doorstep, and this guy told me a price just the previous day and suddenly told me it changed. I felt cheated and I felt okay, this is a problem. And as an entrepreneur, I have been trained to find problems and build a solution, because
Yeah.
that's what entrepreneurs do. We are not building businesses, we are
Exactly.
building solutions for problems.
Problems.
So I got together
You
with,
got a good problem statement to work on.
yeah, so this was a problem statement I faced, right?
Hmm.
So I needed to validate whether everybody else also is facing this issue.
Yeah.
So at that time I messaged a couple of my college friends in from GIT, and like, guys, this is the problem I'm facing, are you guys facing the same? Are your parents cleaning up the house and they are facing an issue finding a kabadi wala? Even in general, regardless of the lockdown, do you face this issue? Like, where do kabadi walas come according to your convenience, or do they come randomly, just like that? So we found okay, this problem is common throughout. We asked our friends and family as well.
Yeah.
And okay, this problem is prevalent, okay, large enough problem. Because of this, people end up throwing their waste in the garbage, which ends up in landfills, contributing to pollution.
Yeah.
So this breaks the cycle, right? We want a circular economy where everything, any waste that is generated goes back into the economy, gets recycled and goes again,
and the process goes on.
Yes. So like, okay, we researched into how big of a problem it was. Found that it was almost a 30-40 billion dollar industry in India alone. Okay. Growing at 12% every year. Like, okay, good growing market, let's find out what we can do. We found that there was some companies in north of India who were dealing with this. We studied them, and okay, fine, we can do something similar, but first start, what can we do first? We don't know anything about this industry. We are engineers.
Yeah.
A dropped out engineer.
Totally a different background.
Yeah. So we didn't have any idea in the recycling or scrap industry at all. So I decided, okay, let me be shameless and take the plunge. I went around asking a couple of scrap dealers if they can hire me for a couple of months and teach me the business. Fortunately enough for me, in one of the industrial areas, there was this large scrap aggregator. He has been in this business for more than 20 years now. Okay. He came from zero to today being one of the largest scrap aggregators of the city. Okay. And he gave me the opportunities. Like, he found he thought okay, I will be a great companion for his son who was currently studying in college. Like, okay, somebody who he can learn from. So this was the vision he had. So you're like, okay, I offered free work or free labor. I told him, for 2 months I'll come to your place, I'll do free labor, you tell me whatever you want me to do, lift heavy stuff, do what you
just want to get into the process.
Yeah, so I'll do work for free. But you give me the opportunity and you teach me differences between all the different items, how everything works. Yeah. And I went for 2 months, and this was in 2021, once the lockdown opened and businesses started slowly starting up. Yeah. So there was still time, and somewhere around, I think, August of 2021, I went to this guy's warehouse. August, September, 2 months I spent there working really hard, worked my can I say ass worked my ass off. And so there I learned a lot of stuff, like differences between different what kinds of metals. Like, there's so much in this industry. Like, even today, I don't feel I've even learned 10% of it.
No, we never think about it. Like, yeah. As a scrap, we just discard it. Like, exactly. We think, are scrap? No, we don't even think about it. Like, yeah, in this kind, at least. Yeah. So when you are saying that he's the biggest aggregator in the Belgaum city and all these things, no, it's not very much relatable. Yeah. So you only know how it went on and what is the story behind it, and yeah, how big this industry is. Yeah.
So this is what something slowly I started realizing. Now, after the confidence of learning the basics of the business, yeah, I decided okay, research to kiya hai. Now research is done, we have learned how the business works, let's just get into it. So I onboarded another young co-founder along with me, and at that time we decided, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. We found that there are over 40 lakh kabadi walas in India in our research. And these 40 lakh kabadi walas, they contribute to over 80% of all recycling done in the entire country. and they do this without access to any technology platform whatsoever. So this was a gap that we noticed. So what if we provide them a platform, okay, and help them only get more business and ensure that everything is recycled? Because even the recycling that was currently being done, right, it was only 20%. Like every waste that like all the waste that is generated throughout the year by India, only 20% is recycled. Of that, 80% is being contributed by Kabadi Walas. Rest of the 80% of all that waste ends up in our landfills, our oceans, our rivers. So that's a very contrasting fact that that hit us. Like, okay, what can we do about this? We can't as a startup.
It's a really big problem actually.
Yeah.
So,
and startups are generally meant for scale. Like regular businesses, they don't really scale or look at scale the way startups do. So business and a startup are two different things. So startups
you
want
mean
to
traditional
scale.
business and
Yes, traditional business.
Visionary one.
Yeah. So we decided, okay, this is a lot more scalable. What if we could just build a platform that connects a kabadi wala and a scrap dealer with customers, whether it's a home or a small to medium business? So we built a Ola, Uber like platform called Kabadi Man, which is basically a website. This is our MVP, and we started connecting kabadi walas with homes and businesses for recycling. And we charge them now. So we do not charge the customer. The pickup is completely free. The kabadi wala will come to your doorstep once you have placed a pickup. He will pay you for the waste. He will get it recycled in his own chain, and we earn from him. Commission model. So yeah, right now we are present.
Aggregator. You're aggregator for both of them now.
Yes. Right now we are present
really,
in Belgaum city and Bangalore. We are running in 2 cities. We have over 500 kabadi walas who have partnered with us, and around 300 more, I think, across other cities like Shimoga, Hubli, Dharwad, Pune, Mumbai, and Kolhapur, which we soon plan to expand.
Okay, cool. That's really nice. Nice of you to have been sharing like all of these things, and it's a good thing to hear about your journey.
Thank you.
And everything. So it's a really good initiative.
Thank you.
So can you share your insights on your financial journey as an entrepreneur? Also, like how do you manage your finances, or about investment, how it is?
Okay. So from the beginning, right, my first bit of investment came from my family. So you can call it a friends and family round, basically. So that was
bootstrapping.
Yeah. So bootstrap is generally, so there's a difference, right? Bootstrap is what you take out from your own pocket, right? I had no money to my name at that time. So I raised a friends and family round, you can say, and I got an investment of initial 15 lakh rupees in the start. This was in 2017. So honestly, I was clueless at that time. I didn't understand budgeting and all of that. These were things that I learned along the way. But I did remember with this one advice. First advice that I remember from my father, he told me, always learn accounting from a Marwadi. Marwadi people, they learn right before they crawl, right? They learn khata, how to manage a khata, like bahi khata, you say, no? So credit, debit, before they learn to crawl.
In their blood,
it's in their blood. Yeah. So you learn from somebody, and that's whom he learned from. So he had a mentor during his younger days. I approached him. I asked him to teach me accounting, and he taught me the basics of credit, debit. These were things that you are not taught in engineering and all of that. You learn it as a commerce student or a accounting student. So credit, debit, I learned how to maintain a book, accounts book. So after that, second, I would say, after the 15 lakhs was infused in my business, I reserved a certain percentage of it to invest into infrastructure. So you need to start budgeting it out. Like, how much do you want to budget for in a fixed hard infrastructure? Then how much for salaries? Then how much for marketing? How much for sales? How much for other expenses, like miscellaneous expenses, like it could be for your CA, your chartered accountant fees, your legal fees, all of that. So you should budget everything and keep. So these were things that I was learning as I went forward. So initially I reserved a certain amount of fund for initial investments, hard infrastructure. Then marketing around, let's say around 25% was spent on that. So if you're a young business who is just starting out, you should reserve a good chunk of your fund for marketing and sales, because without having any exposure, right, you can't have a business.
Well said.
Yeah.
Because I have had this experience, my own experience actually.
Yeah.
Like people do not focus mostly on marketing and sales.
Exactly.
So well said. Actually, you
Yeah.
have to reserve some funds for marketing and
Yeah.
sales
So
always.
there's this saying, right? Jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you need to be seen by many people, and only then you will sell. So initially, I did some inefficient marketing, like door knocking, like doorstep marketing. I used to knock on doors, give them a flyer. So that was the only cost that I had, flyers. Digital marketing came into the picture after some time. So I allocated a certain amount there also for digital marketing, performance marketing, basically Instagram ads, Facebook ads, all of that. Thirdly, I came across this notion that, okay, all of this was being done manually on a book, right? Every day I used to maintain, okay, itna credit, this much is the credit, this much is what I owe, this much is what I'm owed. So generally for my first business, it was a prepaid business. So it was a cash cash flow business, basic cash flow positive business, because before I even gave them the service, customers used to pay me for it. It's a subscription service, right? So you had to pay for it. It was prepaid, so you had to pay for it first and then utilize the service. So it was always cash flow positive. So always at the start of the month, a lot of cash used to come in. And at that time I bought a cycle, because we didn't have UPI during those days. The UPI came after lockdown. Before lockdown, this was in 2017-18, I bought a cycle, and of all the customers I had at that time, somewhere around some 200-300 customers I used to collect cash from every single home and business twice a month. First of the month and 15th of the month, I used to have a cycle. I used to have a small pouch, and I had a digital printer attached to that. So I go around cycling, park it somewhere.
That's the traditional way.
Yeah. And during that time, I came across this particular app called Vyapar. So that was a game changer for me. Before that, I used to do everything on a small notepad, and then entry it out again to a large diary or a large book, accounts book. So all of that was manual at that time. So Vyapar was just coming out during that time, and I think I was one of the most earliest adopters of that particular app. I started using the free version of it. Started using it for maintaining accounts, maintaining credit, debit, invoicing, all of that.
Only for business or personal as well?
Business first. Business first. So business first, I started utilizing Vyapar. Another was Khata Book at that time, but I explored both. And Vyapar had a lot more features during that time. So third advice I would say, or insight I would say, is always be aware of all technology and softwares that are out there, apps that are out there. They'll make your life easier, because
be updated.
Be updated. Like keep exploring, try and find out. One thing I can tell you for sure is, any task that you're doing, there is always some software that can help you out and automate it, right? Yeah. Most of us think, look, okay, what manual work you're doing right now is the only way to move forward. Yeah. But fortunately enough, there are people who are lazy and who know okay.
I was about to say, it's like lazy people find out shortcuts for anything, and this way they find some solutions, better solutions than the
exactly way. So it's good to be lazy, right? So I was one of them. Probably still am, but yeah. So I started using Vyapar, and then eventually I started using Vyapar for my personal finances as well.
Okay.
Then went on to Tally and all. I learned from my accountant, but I still find Vyapar quite useful, honestly. And then I share all that data directly to my accountant, and she then entries it out into Tally. Fourth, again, then GST was introduced, I think 2018-19. That was a new setback for businesses. So that was something I had to learn from my accountant and my chartered accountant. There's still a lot of changes happening all the time in taxation and GST and all of that. You need to be updated as a businessman. You need to constantly be in touch with the accountant and your chartered accountant, because these are things that we forget when we are out building the business. You should learn these things, but you should never take business advice from a chartered accountant. One thing I can tell you for sure. That is one insight. Fifth insight I'll give you. Do not take advice from a chartered accountant. Do not take advice from an accountant ever. Because I'm sure they will probably ban me for, no, but what do you call that? What's that word?
Prohibit.
No, not boycott.
Boycott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boycott from giving you any services.
Yeah. So they understand, most of them, not all of them, but most of them understand addition and subtraction. So they can tell you how you can add on, your top line revenue. Like, let's say your top line revenue is 10, like your revenue is 10 lakhs. They will tell you how you can add 5 more lakhs or 2 more lakhs by cutting down costs, like subtracting something or adding a new something on that. Like whether you take capital invested efficiently. So those advices they can tell you. But what
it's basically about bookkeeping only.
Yes.
So they do not tend to think about other things.
Yeah. But what they don't understand is multiplication. Multiplication is something only entrepreneurs understand. So exponential growth, right? That comes from multiplication. You have a good business running. How do you multiply it into 100 outlets or units? Take it from 1 lakh per month to 10 lakhs per month or 100 lakhs per, like 1 crore per month. So that only entrepreneurs understand. Multiplication is something that chartered accountants can't teach you. So that is something that you should pay attention to. So always be learning from them good stuff, but at the same time ensure that you do not take negative advice to your heart, and make sure that you filter it out from your own perspective, everything that you take in.
Okay.
Sixth insight I would say is there's a lot of courses on finance on YouTube, which is free. I did a MBA course on Udemy. It was from some Harvard professor. It cost me around 2,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees ke liye MBA. It's nothing, right? We spend lakhs and lakhs for MBAs, and you get this from a Harvard graduated professor. It's a quite famous course on Udemy. You'll find it. I don't remember his name.
So it helped you?
Yes, it definitely did help. It brings structure to your business. So all of these things eventually with time, step by step. Of course, I feel that it was too late, but since you're watching this podcast now, I would say ensure to have these things in place before you start or while you start the business. Don't do it later on, because these are things that you learn the hard way. So it is better to also, moving to the seventh advice, is make sure to watch podcasts like this and get good insights and advice. So you know what mistakes not to make from people who have already made them.
So better than experiencing and knowing, it's good to hear from somebody or learn from somebody else who has already learned all those and implemented.
I would say make new mistakes. Don't repeat mistakes that have already been done by somebody else before you. So make new mistakes, learn from them, and implement them.
Yeah, good to know that. That was very useful insight you have provided. But I would also like to know, like, how about your personal finances? Like, have you, like, apart from business, have you thought about any kind of investment or multiplying your own savings? I'm sure you might be drawing some amount of salary or some amount of profits from your business for yourself. So how is that?
Okay. So first of all,
how are you planning to get it done, or are you already investing, or since when did you started? When did you get awareness about it?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I did not withdraw a salary for the first 2 years of my business, which was Firebolt Networks, my first business. And my current business also, I'm not drawing any salary. You should not draw a salary from your business until and unless it is making enough revenue to take care of all the costs.
I guess it's since 2017 is what you mentioned. So from there to here, it's a long way, right?
Of course, yes.
There might be some money flow which you will be having for yourself, like from the profits or from anywhere. Like you cannot just be reliable on the air. You might be having something, right?
So first 2 years.
How is your? I mean, I don't want to know the structure. I want to know your plans, like investment plans. What do you know about it, or how do you go about it?
So
that our audience can understand and they'll get to know about how they can take it ahead.
Yeah. So my mentor first of all told me during that time also, like initially do not take out a salary, but ensure that you have enough fund. You have enough fund to it's called a runway basically. Have enough fund to have run your company for at least 18 months. Okay, so let's say my company is gonna need to spend 1 lakh per month. Okay, so for 18 months I'm gonna require 18 lakhs. So this 1 lakh per month will be according to budget, like how much is whatever. Let's say 20% is going for marketing, 10% for sales, 30% in infrastructure, salaries and all of that, all including 1 lakh per month will be what the company will be spending. So 18 months ke liye you need to have you need to have capital, which is basically called a runway. So this 18 lakhs once I built up, let's say for 18 months I'm set. In those 18 months, by hook or by crook, I should make my business stand so that it will start generating money, and ensure that 1 lakh at least is being 1 lakh of profits is being generated, or gross profits is being generated by the company. Once I reach that stage, then I can start withdrawing a small salary. So once I did reach that stage, that I started taking a small salary of 10,000-15,000 per month. During that time, I didn't have much knowledge, so I stuck with the well-known instruments of investment, which was a recurring deposit. One advice somebody gave me, this was an advice from a mentor, as well as I got this while watching some influencer at that time. I don't remember his name. He's a Bangalore-based influencer, but yeah, he said that you should have a corpus fund of 6 months at least, which is basically an emergency fund. Okay, so what's an emergency fund? An emergency fund is basically a fund that will sustain you for a certain period of time when you have nothing happening for you in life right now. I was coming there. So in first, I wanted to build a emergency fund. So in order to build that, I couldn't suddenly invest a large amount because I didn't have access to it. So I had a fixed salary, 15,000 coming in every month. I could save small amounts of it and put it towards the emergency fund. So I started with an RD, a recurring deposit of around 3,000 per month. Okay, and it was for some 18 months or so. For every month I spent or rather invested into that recurring deposit. The bank can help you set it up. It's a banking instrument, recurring deposit. You get interest on whatever you invest in that, like some as close as a fixed deposit interest rate, and it
like how much interest it used to have?
Around 6.5% at that time, I remember.
Did you feel it was good enough one, or
no?
Did you even focus on that aspect, that is the returns good enough?
No, I did not.
Or is there any other option out there? Did you focus on that aspect?
So this was never meant to be an investment. It was meant to be a life cover, or rather a
emergency fund,
umbrella, right? Or umbrella or a parachute in case my business failed or something, whatever happened. I had enough money to sustain myself for 6 to 12 months. So that was first what I built. After that, while doing that, I started allocating around 2,000, 3,000 rupees towards a mutual fund. So mutual fund ke liye, I researched into multiple different apps and other vendors through private vendors as well. Like we have these agents, right? Mutual fund agents. But me being a tech kid, I wanted to have full control in where I was investing. Yeah. So I decided, okay, let's explore this on my own. I at that time,
so you did not get to know about this from any friends or somebody. You just explored yourself.
Yes. So of course, I mean, I had heard about mutual fund investments from TV ads and influencer, like finance influencers and all of that. So this was a concept I knew, but to invest in it was something of my own decision. And I downloaded this Paytm Money app at that time and explored the whole. So Paytm Money is something you can definitely use. It has a lot of information on it, and Kite also has this another app called Coin, where you can invest in mutual funds. So they both have good, really well explained in simple terminology what a mutual fund is, how everything works, what different kinds of mutual funds are there. Like for example, there's debt mutual fund, there is hybrid, there is equity. Equity has the highest risk but also the chance for the highest reward. Debt is lowest risk because since it's a debt given, the returns are assured, but it's lower returns. And then there's hybrid, which is basically a portfolio of mixed both debt instruments and equity. So all of these things you will learn on Paytm Money and Zerodha
So you
Coin app.
explored yourself and learned all this.
Yes.
But you're giving it for free in our session.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good to hear from you. So what advice would you give the youth of today so that they can invest early and get better for tomorrow? Like you said, you explored few things like investing in the recurring deposits. I mean, whatever it was, purpose was, but still you did, right? So you started from there and you reached at this point where you are investing in mutual funds and everything. So what advice would you give the youngsters so that they can start early, or our audience who are not yet started?
I would say, first of all, focus on monthly income source. You need to have that in place first.
Fixed income.
Yeah, fixed income. Like I see many youth today, unfortunately, they spend a lot of money in investing in stocks and shares and then end up losing it, which is really, I would say it's a pandemic.
Without knowledge.
Without knowledge, yeah. So they feel like, oh, ek din mein I will be a millionaire, whatever. So there's this delusion.
No, we at City Index have a lot of such clients who have lost their money and they are finding alternate way where they can their money can be safely invested.
Yeah. So
I do understand what you're saying. So most of them fall prey for these kind of things, and they just start investing without even having knowledge about it.
Exactly. So young minds today have zero patience, I would say. They want to get rich quick, but there is no free lunch available in life. You have to work your ass off for it. For this, first of all, you need to work on a stable income source, which is gonna, first you need to have a stable income source, which is gonna give you a certain amount of money every month, whether it's a job, business, employment, whether it's a professional service, that whatever it is, have a fixed income source first. Allocate a certain, if you're a young person, allocate close to 50% of it for investments, because you are young. You can always get back even if you lose your job, right? So 50% you should be allocating towards investments, and these investments should be towards high risk investments ideally, because you have the capacity to bear that risk at that age. But never ever invest so much of your savings into high risk investments where you can't sustain the loss. So that's the first advice. Do not go into stocks and shares immediately. Start with a mutual fund, simple mutual fund. It can be an equity mutual fund. I mean, many of these apps that I mentioned will have rankings and returns also mapped out across 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years. Select a good one and read upon them online also. Google them, see what feedback and reviews are there of that particular mutual fund and who is operating that mutual fund, and invest accordingly. After that, once you have all of this in place, a fixed deposit to ensure that your expenses are taken care of, an emergency fund, basically an emergency fund, fixed deposit, a recurring deposit. So these are fixed deposit and recurring deposit. These are called fluid investments, basically, like or rather fluid investments, basically. So they can be easily cashed out. They do not take, they are very, very easily cashable. You can go to the bank immediately, same day you'll be able to get your money. Mutual funds take about 3 days, so they won't work for emergencies. So these must be purely investments.
As per my knowledge, it's vice versa, I guess. Like the fixed deposit is for a fixed period of time, and the
you can always break it. Like, I mean, you will get charged a fine,
but you will not get the promised returns.
Yeah, of course. So returns wise,
why you are saying so. So you had invested it for your emergency fund.
Exactly.
So that's the reason you are saying this way. Yeah.
Our older generation used to focus on fixed deposits as an investment instrument, right? But it's not the one with the highest returns. It has around 5 to 6%.
As the money market evolve, and we
Yeah.
get to know more things about finances, and
Hmm.
there are many awareness programs like the one we are doing right now,
Yeah.
and because of that, so people get to know about better opportunities for investment,
Yeah.
and they tend to evolve around and invest better and get better
Yeah.
day by day.
So correct. So after mutual funds, you can start investing in equity markets through Zerodha app like Kite or Grow. You can directly start.
There are many in the market.
Yeah, many in the market. But of course, you're investing in stocks directly. Ensure that you have made your proper research into that particular stock. Do not go on hearsay what you hear from the general public. Oh, this stock is gonna grow this much, or this stock is gonna fall this much. Do not do your own research. There are different ways of investing there also. There's two kinds, like one is fundamental investment analysis, and then there is technical. So as I was telling you, after mutual funds, you should be once you do start your journey in investing in stocks and shares, ensure that you do your thorough research. There are different kinds of investment tactics or ways basically that you can invest in. One is fundamental and one is technical analysis and fundamental analysis. So fundamental is something that you do on a very long term basis, or technical is on a short term basis. So you have intraday trading, and then you have long term investing. So make sure to study both of these concepts. Of course, many people are falling prey to a lot of scams these days, a lot of fake promises that many so-called influencers or
youth are getting scammed by the promises which market
exactly
they are having.
Like, oh, this is an assured return, you should invest in this particular stock. Like you can see,
like giving tips and all.
Yeah, giving tips. Then we have seen this GameStop saga, and on Netflix also you can watch this particular show. It's how they pushed one stock that was literal pennies to suddenly it worth billions, right? So
basically it is manipulated. The stocks are manipulated and presented in front of the crowd.
Exactly.
So yeah, I get your point. That's why we are actually here and doing this podcast, so that we can save the youth from the scams. And City Index is definitely having a consultation. You can book a consultation, like you said, the fundamentals and everything. You can learn, like our viewers or anybody who are wanting to learn, they can definitely learn from us and get better, and do not fall for such scams.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard City Index provides classes and educates students. Like, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I've heard bits and pieces. Can you tell what exactly City Index does? Maybe we can educate them, viewers also about this, and tell them what exactly is that you guys do.
We have trading classes, and you can learn trading, like basics of trading, financial markets, overview of financial markets. Then like you said, there are a lot of there is a regulatory board which regulates all these scams. Like, this scam should not happen, so there is a SEBI. So there are a lot of things everybody needs to know. And of course, financial literacy is such a thing that each and every person have to know. So it is a life skill.
Yes.
It is not something like I can say it's not kind of particular degree, or you have to do it for earning sake or something like that. It's a life skill. Like, basically we learn cooking and everything. You have to learn the financial aspects of your life, like how to do it.
That's really a great work by City Index. Actually, I wish that during my younger years there was a company that something like this that was that could help me learn about all of this, because honestly I wasted a lot of time trying to learn everything on my own. And if there was something like City Index during my time, I would have definitely gone for it and learned at least the basics, saved a lot of time, and made smarter decisions. So I would suggest that the youth should definitely go for platforms like this, and definitely it will save you time. I mean, of course, you learn from experiences of others, right? You save on time and energy, right? So that gives you a lot more time to focus on what really matters. So yeah. So gold and silver, physical assets, also is something that you can invest in. Of course, with gold, there are two ways you can invest in. One is actual physical gold, and then there is digital gold, which is basically a gold sovereign bond, or GSB. These are bonds assured by the government, and they represent actual gold which you can exchange for, or which is 24 karat. So first, the issues with physical gold is you buy physical gold, you have to store it securely in whether it's at your home, you hide it, or in a bank storage locker. That's going to cost you, right? And second, the only benefit with having physical gold is once it appreciates in value, you can actually go sell it. But every time you go sell it, and or rather you maybe turn it into an ornament, you'll have to deduct making charges and all of that. And third, that investment stays stagnant. You have to wait till it appreciates in value, and only then you can sell it. So problem with physical gold is it stays stagnant. While it's staying stagnant, when you have not sold it, it's just an asset right there sitting without giving you any returns. But contradictively, we have gold sovereign bonds. These represent actual gold which you can go and exchange at any government certified gold jeweler for actual gold. So you buy it just like gold, but it's in demat form, where you store it in your demat account. And these gold sovereign bonds basically have the same benefits of actual physical gold, which is they appreciate in value as well, just like physical gold. So once the price of gold increases, the price of that gold sovereign bond also increases, and you can sell it at that appreciated value as well. So you get that benefit as well. One secondary benefit that physical gold doesn't have, but gold sovereign bond does, is it gives you a yearly interest of around 2.8 to 3% yearly. So your investment is not lying stagnant, it is still compounding. Right? So this is something that you can I think most of us young people should go for instead. So instead of physical gold, because you can always exchange these gold sovereign bonds for actual gold, 24 karat gold as well. So
but in India, gold is a sentiment, right? People tend to purchase gold so that they can wear it, or they can experience the gold on their body, and it has some significance. So it's not just about investing for Indians. About gold.
So you keep your ornamental gold separate, and you keep your investment gold separate. So you have both, right? And other instruments like silver and all you can invest in. Then you have ETFs, like exchange traded funds. You can invest in direct indexes, like you have Nifty 50 and all of that. So as those top 50 companies grow, so does your investment. So different ways of investing. And many people, this one advisory I would give a lot of young minds: do not fall for prey to those insurance agents who tell you that insurance is an investment. It's not. Insurance is just insurance. It is insuring something, so that once
insuring a life or a term of your life.
In life, insurances are often sold as investments, but they are not. They are actually just insurance. Like if you something happens to you or you pass away, you are an earning member of the family. So once you pass away, it gives a life insurance policy gives your family enough money to stand on their legs for the next 1 to 2 years, so that they can figure out what to do next. But it's not an investment. It's just something securing your
life. They're
just
fulfilling the loss of the member.
Exactly. It doesn't give you any returns. But often these insurance policies are sold as an investment, but they are not. So
that's a good thing you said.
Another strategy I would definitely advise young minds is to use leverage. Leverage meaning, for example, take out if you're taking out a loan, right? Whether the loan is at 10-12%, whatever, invest in something that is going to give you a higher return than that 10-12%. It could be, many people do this. I mean, invest in stock markets, or invest in if once you're good at investing, that is, and invest in mutual funds. These will give you a lot more returns. So the difference when let's say a mutual fund gives you around 20% return, and the loan that you have taken out at 12% interest, so the difference of 8% is your profit. So you're essentially
that's what rich people do. They just take loans from bank, and because they already have money, and banks tend to give loan on that, and they invest somewhere where they can get higher returns and they can pay off the interest as well as they can get profit.
Exactly.
So it's a
this is
second
what
source of income.
yeah this is what rich people use, leverage. So learn about leverage, utilize it in everything that you do, and you will see your returns compound over time.
That's been your time, and thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great to be here. It was a pleasure, and thank you, Shweta, for inviting me today, and City Index also.
It's my pleasure that you
yeah.
are here and you respected our approach and you are here to speak about your experiences on financial journey, and definitely our youth will take it from you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At City Index, you can book a free consultation for insights on finances, and for deep knowledge, you can enroll for the classes.